The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA's newest sweethearts. Right now, they're just 2 games back from the #1 seed in the West, and they're the 3rd youngest team in the league. That is rare. SGA is making a legit MVP case at just 25, and Chet Holmgren is having one of the largest winning impacts we've seen from a rookie this century. Together, they look on pace to be the league's premier duo a few years down the line, each with their own dazzling style. SGA with his unique slithery movement and ballet body control, Chet with his generational defensive ability and extraordinary offensive skill for a 7-footer. But there's a third undeniable star talent in OKC, who may not have such a distinctive style or national name recognition, but who does everything you want from a third star, and that's Jalen Williams. J-Dub is a big-time overachiever. He was just a 3-star recruit in high school, and he spent his first 2 collegiate seasons at Santa Clara without generating any buzz on NBA draft boards. But after a dynamic junior campaign, OKC picked him 12th, only for him to then take another leap and make a late push to Rookie of the Year runner-up last season thanks to his elite efficiency and versatile impact. The man has just been trending up and up these last couple years, and this season has been no different. J-Dub does a lot really well, but the first thing that stands out about him is that he's quite a pain to try and stay in front of, not unlike his backcourt mate SGA. J-Dub is phenomenal at shifting gears, and he's an expert at building rhythm as a dribbler, lulling defenders, and then exploding by them. Here, he casually goes between the legs 5 times, but then when he decides to go, that right to left cross is quick and he's by you. He gives Moses Moody a similar treatment here, lulls him, then explodes with that cross. And here you see how his 7'2" wingspan helps him as a finisher as well, shielding this ball from the rim protector. And as that shows you, Jalen doesn't need huge windows of separation. Part of what makes him so lethal is his ability to find angles as a driver and a finisher. He gets low on his drives and just squeezes by you. Excellent at navigating traffic. Watch as he slithers through a crowded paint here, changing pace, then splitting 2 defenders expertly. And he frequently does a nice job of varying his stride length and using gathers to slide by defenders in packed paints. But he's not just shifty. Jalen's willing to be physical as a driver too. A healthy little push off here sends MPJ flying. He changes direction seamlessly, and watch out, Yoke, he will bang out on you, brother. He also has one of the smoothest behind the back moves in the league, yet another weapon for him catching defenders off guard to get a step on a drive or leading into a step back if his drive gets cut off. Occasionally he can get overly audacious handling in traffic and lose the ball, but his handle is generally both creative and quite tight, and his turnover rate is quite low. So he's tough to keep away from the rim, and when he gets there, he's been very efficient as a finisher. He's got that elite length, a 39-inch vertical, impressive body control, a knack for finding angles, and a variety of finishes, scoop layups, runners, and that above the rim pop. In fact, J-Dub's averaging the 9th most points per game inside of 5 feet of any player 6'6" or shorter, and only SGA has been more efficient on those shots out of that group. Look at how his hang time and agility in the air allows him to finish here with 4 dudes converging on him. He takes off from far out, takes the contact in midair, and then finds the angle around them. That's impressive. He can at times force finishes in overcrowded situations, but not enough to knock that strong efficiency at the rim. So he's already one of the league's best driving wings, but defenders, I fear it gets worse for you, because Jalen knows how to use the threat he poses as a driver to get himself good shots elsewhere, and just as quickly as he can go 0 to 60, he can slam on the brakes. Here's that same gear change. He starts by lulling the defender. Look at me, casually walking up to use this screen. Psych. So now Taurean Prince is moving so hard to defend the drive that Jalen just uses his momentum against him and steps back for a wide open look. And Jalen is money on these shots. He's been nearly 47% from mid-range this season, a disgusting 60% on 2-point step backs, and even has a nifty 1-legged fall away from this range. SGA is the best short mid-range guard in the league today, and J-Dub has some similar tricks in his bag in how he uses physicality to create space for short jumpers. Watch how he goes right into Tice, initiating contact to knock him off balance, then steps back for another gimme, and he's consistently physical in situations like this. J-Dub doesn't often shoot pull-up threes, taking just under 1 per game, but he's made an absurd 56% when he does let them fly and knocked down 9 of 14 step-back threes this season. That all-around scoring profile has made Jalen an extremely efficient bucket and one of just 2 players under 25 years old, averaging 18 points per game on 62% true shooting this season, along with Tyrese Halliburton. So he's quite athletic, he's shifty, he's a skilled shot maker, he's efficient, and The kicker is, this guy can really play make. Here, he uses this screen and a hang dribble to get just enough of a step on an elite perimeter defender in Jaden McDaniels, then rises up like he's going to shoot a short jumper, so he keeps Gobert engaged until the last second, then turns his body and fires this over to Chet. That's some nice deception. He's got some craftiness as a passer too. Watch him reach around the defender to whip this one-handed live dribble lefty bullet to Chet. That's pretty nasty. One of my favorite traits of J-Dubs is that he's a beautiful lob passer. He's generally got great timing and placement there, and he and Chet already have awesome chemistry in their two-man game. J-Dub's not an elite playmaker. He can miss opportunities. Here, he's a second late and a bit off target floating this pass to Chet, which allows LeBron to come over and help, and he's not routinely making next level skip passes, but he's a pretty damn good passer. And that dual threat makes J-Dub an extremely efficient on-ball creator. Including passes, he's an 80th percentile pick and roll creator and an 82nd percentile isolation creator. Dangerous both as a scorer and playmaker. But what makes him so ideal as a complementary star next to a true offensive number one like Shai is his ability to impact the game away from the ball as well. J-Dub is a willing and effective catch and shooter, knocking down 39% of those looks from deep, and he's an effective closeout attacker given his athleticism. He has excellent feel as a cutter for a wing, and has good feel as a connector with his passing. He tends to notice when defenders are out of position and a teammate has an advantage, and he's decisive in those situations. He's also really good in transition, running the floor, pushing as a ball handler, shooting as a trailer. The dude is just versatile to his core, and it makes him a dream to have on your team. And J-Dub is quite the versatile defender as well. He's an excellent lateral mover who takes good angles on drives, navigates screens well, and plays with awesome effort, constantly light on his feet and in a good defensive stance. He's a pesky but composed on-ball defender. He'll use his 7'2" wingspan to poke at the ball and apply pressure with his body, but he always stays square and moves his feet efficiently. This possession shows all of that. Jamal gets a little loose with the handle, so Jalen applies pressure, but he doesn't ever give up his position. And then, as Murray goes to his signature turnaround here, Jalen blocks it. That's not normal. Average NBA guards can't do that. That length and vertical pop has made Jalen a tough man to score on as a driver, whether as a one-on-one defender or a helper, as he's held opposing players 11% below their typical field goal percentage inside of 6 feet. If Jalen has a defensive weakness, it'd be his slight frame at 6'5", 195 pounds that will occasionally prompt big bruising forwards to attack him on switches. But even in those situations, Williams has ranked as an 89th percentile post defender this year. Although I do think Chet Holmgren and OKC's help defense as a whole deserves some credit there, but he's long, he's competitive, and is overall quite switchable. And that's kind of his whole thing. Jalen doesn't have a weakness at all. Maybe he doesn't have that tier 1 elite trait, but he's damn good at just about everything. And I mean that genuinely. He pressures the rim, creates for others, is a lethal mid-range shooter, a 43% three-point shooter, strong off ball, good in transition, damn good defending the perimeter, and good for his position on the interior. And when you do all those things really well, you're a star. And even more than that, you're the perfect complementary star, which can be such a hard thing to find. And that's what Jalen is destined to be. Maybe SGA and Chet are the ones contending for MVPs and first team all-league nods, but Jalen will be a consistent all-star and potentially even an all-NBA kind of guy. He is so good, and I don't see any reason he wouldn't keep getting better. And when you have 3 dudes of that caliber, titles are waiting for you if you don't mess it up. So fellas, don't mess it up.